G'day Aussie Gridiron fans, welcome to the G'day Gridiron podcast. Free agency halfer, the first for 2026. We decided we're going to do a quick little 30-minute rundown of some free agency moves and signings, and I guess kind of almost rumours, but they aren't official yet. And this so far, every day this week we're going to do one, hopefully about half an hour. We've got a clock up already, which you might see in a top corner if I can figure out how to put it somewhere. But Brad and I are going to have a quick chat about a couple of moves that were made this week so far before we officially kick off free agency. How you going, Brad?
Doing well. I told my wife yesterday or this morning, I can't remember. I said, babe, this is free agency week. You don't understand how big this is. And she mockingly said to me, "Oh no, I do. It's huge. It's huge." And so, yes, I confirmed to her that it is big and that I will be every night, if needed, be available to do the podcast. So I am excited.
Arguably the second biggest week of the season, I reckon, Brad.
Yeah. I think, well, and it's the most like, oh my gosh, because we already know the names of a lot of these guys. And so teams, obviously destinies really hinge on a lot of what we're going to see happen over these next 48 hours.
This is where we know how the structure of a team is going to take place. Because the draft is kind of adding, you add a few really good pieces, but essentially they're supplemental pieces. And this is where the bulk of a team is built. The guys that get re-signed, the guys that get picked up in free agency, the veterans that get picked up, that can make up the bulk of a team and really take you to the highest of highs or leave you in the lowest of lows.
And it kind of sets the table for what's the team's ethos going to be like? How are they going to build their team, structure it, all that kind of stuff. Really takes shape in free agency period. So it's more than just, hey, they signed this guy. It's okay, they're going to build through the trenches. Okay, they're going to try and go after cheap wide receivers, whatever. So yeah, it is huge. And if you love the NFL, you got to love this week.
Yeah, absolutely, Brad. I love the team building aspect. So this was one of the best times for me. When I was sort of becoming a big fan of the NFL, was just how this all gets done, how the sausage gets made, Brad.
Yeah, exactly. And who doesn't love a good sausage?
Exactly. All right, we're going to go through a few guys that in the past few days to a week have been since we last talked. Basically, some information has come out about these guys. They've agreed to sign with teams or have been traded. So let's kick it off with a massive one that happened earlier in the week. Trent McDuffie gets traded from the Chiefs to the Rams. The haul is a first round, a 2026 fifth and sixth, and a 2027 third round pick that are going back to the Chiefs. The Rams, importantly, send their own first round pick, the number 29, not the one in the earlier rounds that they picked up from the Cardinals. And then just today, McDuffie and the Rams reached an agreement to make him the highest paid linebacker at this point. 4 years, $124 million extension, including $100 million guaranteed.
Yeah, it's cornerback you meant.
Cornerback, yes, sorry, not linebacker.
Yes. It's phenomenal. They basically said, stuff the draft picks. We want a ring, and we're gonna make the move now. And they backed up that Brinks truck and just unloaded it on McDuffie. So I don't mind it from the standpoint of you're paying a guy for his prime now, because he is only 25 years old. He's been in the league a while, two-time All-Pro. Last year, I think he was second team. Year before that, first team. But as a 25-year-old, the dude is legit, and he's going to be good. Typically corners don't hit their peak until 27, 28. So you could get, theoretically, you could get another 4 years out of this guy at an elite level. And it may seem like a lot now, but overall, I don't think it is. And you wonder you wonder what kind of conversation they had with Matt Stafford. Like, say, hey, bud, you got to come back this next year, type thing. So
it's definitely a big
he's
signal
38.
that the Matt Stafford era isn't done. That they
Yeah.
want to go around one more time. They probably feel aggrieved by not getting to that Super Bowl this year, and that they want to just go one more time around and say, Matt Stafford played at full, proper MVP level last year. We all saw it.
Yeah.
He was amazing, and probably one of the best years he's ever had, especially at the Rams. And I think this really signals that they're saying, we're going to do this again. Matt, come back. We got one more year. We are going to do this again, and we're going to go all in while he's still there. Les Snead, of course, the joke has been for years since Les Snead has been there, the F them picks era of the Los Angeles Rams. Let's just quickly, Brad, the Rams own first-round picks, or their own first-round picks since 2017. Traded to the Titans, traded to the Patriots, traded to the Falcons, traded to the Jags, traded to the Jags, traded to the Lions, traded to the Lions. 2024, they picked Jared Verse. What a pick that was. Then 2025 traded to the Falcons, and now the 2026 pick traded to the Chiefs. Once.
Wow.
Since 2017 will Les Snead have picked a first-round player with their own pick.
Well, you know what? I don't. It's working. Like, barring JSN and Seattle, they're the second best team in the league, in my opinion. I think most people agree. Seahawks and Rams are two of the best teams in the league, and I think this is a kind of a counter move to Seattle and JSN. This is because this is the guy that I think can shut them down. And they gave up that secondary gave up the 7th highest opponent completion rate on throws over 15 yards. So let that sink in. 7th highest opponent completion rate on throws over 15 yards, and that's what torched them in the playoffs and against the Seahawks. So I think this is again goes back to the chess match of roster building that the Rams are doing. So I think it's fascinating.
I think it's a big signal, like you said, Brad, to Seattle and the JSN, and it's a big signal to the 49ers and what their wide receivers are going to do this coming season. And then also, I think they're expecting that the Arizona Cardinals are going to be better under Mike LaFleur. So these things all happen, and the Rams just go, we're going all in. The Rams' record since 2017, by the way, the Les Snead era, 92-57. So that F them picks is really working.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely.
Why take a punt on a first-round guy when you can pick up a free agent on the market for a great price who can change your team? Speaking of changing your team, Brad, Max Crosby gets traded from the Las Vegas Raiders to the Baltimore Ravens. 2 first-round picks, 2026 and 2027, is the price. Baltimore had the number 14 pick. Now the Raiders have both the 1st and the 14th in this draft.
Jeez.
This is the first time in the Ravens' 31-year history that they have used a first-round pick to trade for a veteran.
Wow, I didn't know it was that big. That's huge. I mean, I knew historically they treat kind of draft picks like sacred artifacts. They're the it's so interesting because you have two exact polar opposites. You have the Rams who never pick their first round, who are always trading, and the Ravens who the opposite. They always pick. They always build through the draft, and yet here they go. They've decided they're gonna pivot. They fire Harbaugh. They bring in Jesse Minter, and they decide that the time for patience is over. Lamar Jackson's in his prime. This thing isn't gonna last forever, so let's make our move now. I like it. I applaud it. If we'll see if it pans out, but at least they're making a move. They're not just bringing the band back and expecting to get better results. They're really trying to do something about it.
Max Crosby signed a $106.5 million extension, a 3-year one with the Raiders in 2025, including $91.5 million guaranteed. He's on the hook for an average annual value of $35.5 million. That is an absolute bargain for a top pass rusher.
Oh yeah, edge. The conversation behind quarterback, edge rusher is arguably the most important position in the NFL. So it's phenomenal. And when you think of what Crosby has done, so he's got a career 69 and a half sacks. But think about where he's done that. He's done that with the Raiders. Do the Raiders get a lot of leads? Are they in a lot of obvious passing situations? I would argue no. So that production that he has gotten has been on a team that has very rarely played with the lead. So, and Baltimore, they were in the bottom 10 in sacks last season, and I think they were forced to blitz a lot. They had one of the highest blitz rate in the league, and basically Max fixes all that. I mean, his pressure rate is going to be insane with these guys. So this is going to be fun.
How's the AFC North now? Max Crosby on the Ravens, Myles Garrett on the Browns, and TJ Watt on the Steelers. Joe Burrow has to face these three guys 6 times this year. He may die, Brad. He may die.
Oh my gosh! Think about that. And then who's he got on defense? Nobody, because goodbye Hendrickson.
Yeah. So Trey Hendrickson is going to end up moving to somewhere great and just be laughing at what's going on over there. But Anyway, we'll get into what's going on with the Bengals much later in the piece. DJ Moore got traded, or is going to be traded, from the Chicago Bears to the Buffalo Bills. The Bills are going to send a 2026 second-round pick to the Bears. The Bears also send a 2026 fifth-round pick along with DJ Moore. Bills will be guaranteeing $73.5 million over 3 years for DJ Moore. They've negotiated 2028 down to 15.5 from the 23.5 that he was due. Also have an option for 2029 within that contract. You can expect them to renegotiate a lot of that, but effectively, Brad, the Bills are going to end up with a top wide receiver veteran for how much every year? Did we work out?
Well, yeah, because Buffalo's paying for all his bonus. They're just paying the salary, and they're saying they're going to restructure it. It's going to end up being roughly, they think, about $7.5 million for this next year after they get things restructured. So that you just got a pretty good deal.
I'd say so.
You're Buffalo and Josh Allen. So I love this move. Allen obviously needed a reliable number one receiver. We all know that. And Moore brings that. He's got that true skill set of a number one. You could debate is a 1A, 1B, that type of thing, but he's right up there. And I think the fact that he's going back to Joe Brady, who's the new head coach, and Brady was his OC when he was in Carolina, when he had his most productive seasons. I think those, that's when he had back-to-back 1,000 yard seasons.
Yep.
So I think you're going to see a definite bump in his production, because he's older. What is he? What do we say he is? He's 29 or something like
29.
that? 29. Okay, yeah, but he's not ancient by any means. So I think he's got a lot of tread left on that tire.
Yeah, in Carolina, 3 out of the 5 years were 1,100 yard seasons, with sort of 80 to 90 receptions every season. At the Bears, in 3 seasons, the first couple of seasons he had around 100 receptions for just on 1,300 yards the first year, just under 1,000 the second. Touchdowns, lots of touchdowns in all of that as well. You can expect that the production is going to go up with the Bills because they desperately need wide receiver talent. We've all seen that for a couple of years now.
Yeah, he's going to get force fed. If there was anybody that's going to get force fed, it's going to be him. And I think the other interesting side of this is Chicago. In terms of this is a salary strategy move, and it's also a belief in their young wide receiver core. So they believe Adunze is a true number one. Luther Burden is excelling and is growing. You've got Loveland, their tight end. I think, that trio they're very happy with. So, and this just gives them it frees up about 16.5 million in cap. So I think it's a win-win for both teams.
Yeah, I think so too. The Bears get an extra second round pick now, which is incredibly valuable for team building. So they can do that with depth anywhere. And obviously they're going to prioritize the way that the Bears are working now. They'll end up prioritizing lines, and no doubt depth, to really make sure that Caleb Williams has the best possible year in 2026 that he can have, and hopefully get a couple of steps further up the ladder to where they ended this season. A quick one on the Vikings. TJ Hawkinson reworked his contract with the Vikings this week. The Vikings, of course, were in utter cap hell. Minus $42 million going into last week. Brad, they moved $51 million worth of cap space in the last week. They are now around $15 to $18 million in the green, in the black, the right way.
Wow.
That's unbelievable.
Wow.
Through a whole bunch of moves that happened. The interesting one, though, was TJ Hawkinson. He lost about $5 million, took about $5 million pay cut. They also removed the final year of his contract. That's not something that I'm used to hearing in this team building phase when guys restructure contracts. So this now makes TJ Hawkinson a free agent after this season.
Yeah. I think this is a win-win, because you're right. It's not that common that a player is going to get a year taken off of his contract. So he's going to be entering free agency in his at his age 29 season. And for a tight end, they still got plenty of room left to run on that. So he's going to be able to sign another multi-year contract, probably 4 years, for big money. Assuming he gets his health back, because he got hurt. It was in 23. Prior to him getting hurt, he was playing at an elite level that season. Like, he was in the Kelsey stratosphere in terms of his numbers. And it was just that injury that has really caused him to dip.
Yeah, it absolutely did. It was just that was the only thing that really caused him that year off, or the majority of that season, when he was unhealthy. That really hurt him massively. And of course, you're coming back from an injury like that. We all know that ACLs, MCLs, Achilles injuries, they usually aren't great the year you come back. It's always the second year. So it'll be interesting to see what he ends up at now. The Vikings could also tag him as a free agent, like give him a free agent tag, or tag him next year, I believe. I think they can still do that, which would actually give him about, if it was this year, he'd get roughly about $15 million on that tag. So that would be a bump from what he was already earning, or was going to earn this year anyway. So the final one for today, Brad, that I wanted to have a quick chat about is Kyler Murray. It was officially announced by the Arizona Cardinals that they will be releasing him. They won't be keeping him going into 2026, and they're going to release him at the start of the league year. Murray is guaranteed $36.8 million this year, which the Cardinals are going to pay all of that. He'll be free to sign a contract at the vet minimum, which is approximately $1.3 million for this season. And the Vikings have been heavily rumoured on social media to be the absolutely strong favourite to sign Kyler Murray, which would pair him with a kind of offense he hasn't really had in his entire time at Arizona.
Yeah, he's only 28 years old, and you got to consider the guy was Offensive Rookie of the Year in 2019. He was the number 1 draft pick, but he still hasn't lived up to expectations in his 7 seasons at Arizona. He's made a couple Pro Bowls, but overall he's got a losing record. He had the one playoff appearance. He lost that one. And I think just financially, they just decided to cut their losses. Arizona did. If I'm Minnesota, why not? Why wouldn't I mean? I guess what's the biggest drawback? The biggest drawback is that is it gonna close the window? Are you completely closing the window on JJ? I don't think
Oh,
so.
I don't think so.
But surely Kyler's got to be thinking that okay, I'm coming in, I'm going to be the starter, right? I mean, he's not. It's not a competition per se for it. It's so I just love it. I mean, and this is again, if O'Connell could do this, if he could kind of quote unquote resurrect Murray's career, and imagine Murray being able to throwing to those weapons. I mean, I'm sorry, but Justin Jefferson is going to get a whole lot more than 2 touchdowns next season if Kyler Murray's his quarterback. So his raw talent is unbelievable. He's accurate. He's a playmaker. So I would love to see what the Vikings do with him and his legs. It's just, yeah, that would be exciting. They just need a running back.
In full seasons, Brad, Kyler Murray hasn't had terrible stats. Well, I mean, we've all seen it, and he was a darling of fantasy football for such a long time because he is that dual threat quarterback. His best seasons are sort of around that 3,700 to 3,900 range in yards, and with around 26 touchdowns. You know, and if there is full seasons. Last year, of course, only 5 games. The Cardinals ended up saying they were going to stick with Jacoby Brissett even after Murray was back and apparently healthy. So he only really ended up 5 games for about 1,000 yards. 6 touchdowns in that time, though, again. And yes, you mentioned the rushing. The rushing isn't really a huge part of it, even though we all think of him as a rushing quarterback. I think it's more of the scrambling gets him those yards. But, 400 or 500 yards from a quarterback is pretty good. A lot of touchdowns. 2020 was an outstanding year for him, to be honest. But yeah, there's some durability issues. And there was early on there was the talk of the maturity. I think this is going to be he's going to be better for this. This will be his 8th season in the NFL. I think getting cut from a team that you thought believed in you will actually sort of make you wake up a little and reevaluate what you want to do or how you're going about your business. The ability to come in somewhere on a vet minimum and absolutely prove to them that you should be there and they should maybe even sign you for another couple of years, a la Daniel Jones this year, or even go out next year and sign with another team for $20-30 million. That's the ability to be able to do that, and picking a landing spot like the Minnesota Vikings, I don't think you can go wrong. Geno Smith and Tua are probably going to be in the same boat, or Geno Smith already is. Tua is likely to be as well. Out of the three, as a Vikings fan, I think I'd rather Kyler Murray for $1.3 million, to be honest.
Oh, if it came, I mean, the upside is a lot more with Kyler.
Huge.
I think. Geno provides probably a little bit better leadership, a little bit better like a locker room type dude. I think everywhere he's gone, he's been loved everywhere. So, and Geno did not have the greatest year last year, but we saw in Seattle, given the right system, he can do it. And that Vegas offense was so atrocious. They have to take a lot of the blame for the way he played last season. So, does this mean Kirk Cousins is gone, do you think?
I think Kirk Cousins is too expensive. I don't think, unless Kirk Cousins wants to sign for the vet minimum, I think we don't see Kirk Cousins getting signed to a team until much later, likely in another backup role. Because I think Kirk Cousins is going to cost you probably around $15 million. And when you can sign someone with the talent level of a Kyler Murray or a Tua Tagovailoa for $1.3 million, I think that far outweighs Kirk Cousins, even with all the years and the exceptional football brain and mind that he has. Would I still sign Kirk? I think as a last resort. You'd really want him to take a team-friendly deal, though.
Yeah, absolutely.
You'd want to lay it out
Absolutely.
for him and go, look, we don't have a hell of a lot of cap space, so you can't ask for a lot. But if you want to retire a Viking, where you had your best years and where your kids were born and all that kind of stuff, you can just go, you can do that. But
Yeah, yeah. The one name that I heard that I really surprised me, and I don't know if you've heard this or not, but was Derek Carr.
oh, Derek Carr's been out there as well. Yes, he said on a podcast with his brother, this podcast that he does with his brother, that he would be
Yeah.
willing to return to the NFL.
Oh.
But he wanted if he was going to return, it would have to be on a winning team, someone that would be a winner. Well, Derek,
There you go.
you've been out of the league for a little while now, dude.
Yeah.
You can't. If you really
Yeah.
want to come back to the NFL, let's just say beggars can't be choosers.
That's right. Yeah.
And to be honest, if you wanted to return as a winner, then the Colts were out there for the taking last year, late last year, and they ended up with Phillip Rivers instead. So maybe you should have put your hand up for that job.
Yeah, yeah. If the Browns are calling, he's probably going to say no, thank you.
What are they going to
but,
do? I'm sure Derek Carr is still under contract to the Saints. I'm sure he had one more year.
He is.
Yeah.
Yeah. He. I
So
looked it
who's
up,
going to want to
and
give
he is.
who's going to want to give the Saints a draft pick for Derek Carr? Let's be honest.
Yeah. Yeah. The Browns. The Browns
No,
win.
the Browns would, yeah. Why not?
Yeah.
Eight quarterbacks on a roster. There's no problem.
Yeah. Exactly.
So-
Exactly.
All right. That's been our first free agency half hour. Let's see if we can keep it at that on further days. It's really going to be a stretch tomorrow when we have Nick and Isaac as well. So let's see how that goes down that rabbit hole. Thought I'd just throw out the free agency, the half a tag, because of course Maddie and Tay did the Supercoach half hour last year, and I wanted to see if I could keep to half an hour because their Supercoach shows traditionally blew out to a lot longer than that because they've just had so much information packed into them. But anyway, free agency is a time where we can just talk little bits about great people. We will be back tomorrow with, yes, as I said, Isaac and Nick. And if you want to keep up with anything else, make sure you follow along on all of the AGN socials. Ours is at G'day Gridiron. Check out Manjot at Pastry Press NFL. He will be doing reactions to just about every trade or every free agency signing that happens over the next week. Manjot's got lots lined up, and he's making sure he's in a position to be able to post heaps. So make sure you get on there and check all that out. Thanks for coming on, Brad. Thanks, everyone, for listening. And we will see you tomorrow.